Professor Musa Sek, who will be offering his comment, and I'm going to leave it to Sheikh Tian to perhaps introduce a little further. I was going to say, without further ado, let's turn it over, but the seat is blank.
The mayor is busy trying to clean this table.
Oh, sorry. So welcome.
Thank you.
Packed room. I know that we had to turn people away for this event, and it's just a shame that we didn't have a larger venue. But thank you for joining us, and the floor is yours. We'll have a kind of discussion.
Good afternoon, friends. I apologize for the little delay. We were at NDI, National Democratic Institute, and discussing the issues of situation in Senegal. And we really apologize. We wanted to be here on time because we do not only apologize because we wanted to maybe wait until, but we wanted to eat also. But really afterwards. So we decided to punish ourselves by not eating because we were late. I'm seeing friends like Jennifer and other friends that I've worked with for years when I was Foreign Minister of Senegal for 9 years and a half, which is too long and too much. And it can drive you crazy because we have so many issues in Africa, from Sudan to the situation with ACME today, and Guinea-Bissau, all the problems we had, Cote d'Ivoire, Madagascar. We were involved, in all those crises and tried to help our continent. And the situation now, unfortunately, the spotlight was on other countries, and Senegal was playing, the role of a peacemaker. Now we are calling the world to come and make peace and light in our country, So that's history evolves. Unfortunately, it seems now that it is our turn to call on our friends around the world to do something. Because we are so proud that we pretend to go around and help people, but we will tell people that we are just fine, we can sort out this situation. I don't think it's the case this time, because we have reached a limit where confrontation seems to be the only way out. And people like me and my people in general, Senegalese, are very peaceful people, and they don't believe in confrontation. So there must be a solution somewhere. If the international community, the African community, follow what the Senegalese people are doing, which is telling the truth to our government, to this regime, and standing very firm, not only on principle, but also open to discussion to find a way out. But the international community has the best statement on preventing conflict and the worst report on preventing conflict. It's like people are ready, only ready when blood start being shed. Then people are ready to organize mission, to have United Nations peacekeepers come on the ground, find money, find resources. What we are saying is that we can do it now and save all that money for Somalia or hunger in the world, and do something else than going and dealing with a major power transfer crisis in Africa. That's going to be the next one, the next big one. You know that Africa has been dealing with the crisis of political succession, what we call in French alternance. Very difficult for some African leaders to give their best to their people for 10 years, 15 years, and just give the way to someone else who can come and try also the recipes, and because that's how it works better. When you do your best in 10 years, let's say when you have a 7-year term, even 14 years, it's way enough, and you deserve not only rest, but to get back your sanity, because to run a country is completely crazy. And I know President Obama will not say no, he will not go against what I'm saying. So just to be a normal human being, I think after 14 years, we should go back to reading books and going to restaurants and walking in the street as a human being, and leave all this security around you, all these Air Force One and Air Force Two, but many African leaders don't see things that way. I think one of the reasons that is obvious now is that the issue of accountability. The issue of accountability. The way you run your country, and you don't care about governance issues. You don't care about corruption around you. And people do so many bad things to their own people that the only way they think they should retire, um, they should go out is either to die while leading the country after 30, 40 years of power. How many African leaders known have done a good job in the beginning and then they end up leading the country till the end without making the decision of getting out of the way? Houphouët-Boigny is a great example. He's a respected African leader. He had great ideas for his country. He fought for independence for Côte d'Ivoire, but he was not able to organize the peaceful transition of power between him and his successors. So he preferred basically to just go away and to leave the country and to wish the best to his country. The best did not happen. We all know what happened to Côte d'Ivoire, the most stable African country. If you realize that Malaysia or Singapore, end of the 70s, was saying that Côte d'Ivoire is their model of development. They want to be like Côte d'Ivoire. When you see now what is going on in Côte d'Ivoire, and also, the bad news that some international institutions came and found Houphouët-Boigny with this 47-year plan to have Côte d'Ivoire be developed by 2010. They stopped it. They told him no. You have to do something else. Don't mix up with all the social issues and we are a state. You should allow people to develop their skills, and so those people also one day will be held accountable for what they did to Côte d'Ivoire and how they stopped this great development of this country. But what happened is Houphouët was not able to organize a peaceful transition of power. Then Ouattara was left to be technically the successor of Houphouët, while the constitutional successor was Bédié. So the first fight was between Ouattara and Bédié, and then Gbagbo came in the game, and today we're talking about thousands of people who lost their lives for Côte d'Ivoire just to be a peaceful and stable country. We have seen the situation in Gabon, and now the situation in Senegal. So Senegal was really the hope, the reason for hope for many people around the world, when in the year 2000, a president who led the country for 19 years realized that he lost the elections, and before his entourage planned any strategy to stay, he called the winner and congratulated him. That's President Diouf. And that will be, in the history of Senegal and African democracy, something to be remembered. He did it. And now he's living peacefully, between Senegal and France, and he has become so popular. I told him 6 months ago when I saw him, I told President Diouf, you didn't know that your move then will give you such a great reputation today. Now he cannot walk freely in the streets of Dakar. People will come out applauding, telling him how much they miss him. And that's terrible because, his party and the Socialist Party, they run the country for almost 40, 50 years. And he himself ran the country for 19 years. He did well, on some areas, and he did poorly on some others. And it was time for change. So we got rid of President Diouf, but now people are telling him, we regret what we did, we miss you, you should come back. And I told him not to even think about it. Don't listen to those guys, you have done a wonderful job, just stay away. But I think that's his intention also. To be honest, he has no intention of coming back into Senegalese politics. And then one of the reasons he has is that he's 72 years old. And now we have a man who's 87 years old and who thinks he deserves another term. And President Senghor left, he stepped down because one of his arguments was that I am now 74 years old and I start forgetting things, forgetting appointments and meetings and so on. So I think it's time for me to step down. 74 years old. Now we have Mugabe and Wade, who are 86, 87, and I think they're still very young and very energetic to run their countries. So that's also part of the problem that we have in Senegal. But more seriously, I used to come here and speak on behalf of my country, defend not only the people of Senegal, but defend President Watt's policies when it comes to international diplomacy, diplomacy for peace in Africa and mediation, diplomacy for African unity, regional integration, and to defend his vision of infrastructure, education in Senegal, because he wanted to really do a lot of good things for his people. And the two of us have worked very closely and have developed, frankly, a friendship, deep respect, among between the two of us until the year 2007, where I realized, honestly, that the president was, slowly taking the path of what we have termed, our movement was the one first in Senegal. We called it Citizens Political Movement, Mouvement Politique Citoyen. We used the term dynastic succession project, that the president was working on a project of a dynastic succession, which means that he was doing everything to groom his son to replace him. And that's a disaster for a man like Abdoulaye Wade, because we wanted for him, his historical legacy, to be someone who fought for 26 years to implement his party and to win elections. He went to elections that we fought, he won, and he was not declared the winner. He still agreed, and he made this beautiful statement that went around the world: I will never walk on dead bodies to become president. I'm ready to wait for the next elections. So people have so much respect, admiration, and consideration for this man, his struggle, and we wanted him to have the best legacy, among African leaders. And he's a Pan-Africanist. Me, I'm 200%, and he's also 200% Pan-African. We believe in African unity, and we still share that vision, I believe. So, we work very closely, and I'm very sad to see that starting in the year 2007, as soon as he won the election, he made two important statements that day. When the first press conference after the win, the electoral win, President Wade said two things. One is the opposition said they were going to defeat me. You see, I'm popular, my people are behind me, and these opposition leaders, they better watch out. Moustapha Niasse, I know you have done this and that. Tanor Dieng, I'm after you because I know you sold fishing licenses, unlawfully. I can get you and put you in jail. You, Idrissa Seck, and Bachili, Dansokho. I was sitting there. Then we were working together. Honestly, I was sweating while it was very cold in the room, because I felt so bad to hear that type of speech. I thought when you win the election in the African context, you should call everybody to rally, around the president, even if you are an opponent, opponent to the regime. Then you should think of how to put your qualities, your knowledge to the service of your country. Whether we agree or disagree on global vision, we can agree on fundamentals, for the development of our country. So I thought that should have been, President Paul to his opponents. But he frightened each one of them. I know a lot of things about you, and you better be quiet, otherwise, what I'm. Back then he said, and that's the second statement. He said, you know why you all acting like that? Because you have hatred against my son. And my son is one of the best trained, Senegalese cadre, expert. He was in London, he got this, he was in this bank. So the way he insisted on his son, to me, that was the day this drama started unfolding, that the president has, reflected on the experience